Hello and welcome to another episode of Swim Sets by the Pool, the podcast where we give you free swim workouts and tips on how to swim better. We scour the globe, scour the internet for all these swim sets, and boy, do we have an interesting one for you today. My name is Nathan Cohen. I'm a professional triathlete. I race draft legal Olympic distance and do Ironmans for fun, it's just good training. With me is Greg Harper, also a professional triathlete. Greg, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah. Oh, just Ironmans for fun, huh? Casual, very casual.
Yeah, it's good
Uh,
training. Sprint try training.
hey, more is more.
Yeah, dude.
Um, I let out the water at 70.3 worlds, and I was thinking about it. I might have accumulated the most yards and meters out of any pro, who showed up to the start line, and I was the fastest. So there's definitely something to be said about Sam Long's maybe the fastest cyclist in the sport. He's probably done the most miles. So,
Hmm.
it doesn't always correlate perfectly, but in the end, if you train a lot, you will get better. And if you take our swim sets to the pool every day, just the you could go light years. I mean, you'll be so good. It'd be unbelievable.
Dude, I'm already seeing it at my local pool. I'm seeing some people with I hand out stickers to everyone at my pool for the pod. I'm like, oh, you're a swimmer because you're at the pool. Here's a sticker for the pod. And like people are getting faster, man. I'm getting the wake from people just swimming so fast, and I'm just like feeling it, and I'm like, man, this is awesome.
You're like, oh, that must have been episode 12 set. Oh man,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a great one.
Dude, more people are diving in the pool too. I see people diving in, and I'm like, man, that's a good dive, Michael. That was good. And he's like 60 years old. I'm like, oh
You're
shit.
lucky you get to dive at your local pool
That's
because
like
I
7 feet
definitely don't.
deep across the whole pool. So it's like, even if you mess it
My
up, you can't hurt
The
yourself.
pool that I swim in is deeper than that, but they still say no diving.
Mm,
Um, lame.
lame. Yeah. Anyways, so today's set, man, this is a crazy one. Um, but I've got a tip for you guys. If you are trying to PB your swim, whether you're just a swimmer, like swimming for high school or college, or you're an open water swimmer or a triathlete, throw some variety in your swim sets. We have so many swim sets on this podcast by now. Like, I don't even know. This is probably going to be like episode 40 when we release it or something. So, there's some different swim sets in there, and there's some challenging ones. Like, I did one of our past episodes today, and it had 1,000 yards of kick, which is not something I normally do in a swim set, but it was good. Like, it was definitely challenging towards the end of it, but I'm trying really hard to throw in more variety, more stroke into my swimming, and I've definitely seen some gains. So that's my tip. Throw some variety into your swimming, mix it up a little. Don't just always swim freestyle if that's what you're used to. Throw in some stroke, throw in some kicking, throw in vertical kicking. If your pool's deep enough,
Mm.
do some vertical kicking. That's a fun thing. So yeah.
I love people do vertical kicking. And people have such a tough time with it. And I think it can just help you if you can work through that. Because in the end, if you stop kicking and have a big breath of air, you can float with your head right at the surface. You don't even have to kick. So you're like, oh, I can't stay above the water. I'm like, you could stay above the water without kicking, just using your lungs. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can find the relaxation in your kick and then just like, be stable, I think it helps people kick just more narrow. When you get these big, long, slow kicks, you end up sinking. So you got to keep narrow, tight kicks. And, you can practice your butterfly kick
Mm-hmm.
and, breaststroke kick too, in that way. And you can feel the power of your kick. So I think that's good. Vertical sculling, not bad too, to, um,
Mm.
try to get high up out of the water. Kind of like a polo player might do,
Yeah,
to
I'm just
block
thinking
or
all the
something.
water polo players I see. Yeah.
It burns. Like, it burns. So, yeah, I think those are good tools to use to kind of feel that toughness of, and the feel for the water, both the kick and the pull.
Yeah. I'm pretty
But yes.
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm pretty sure when I was in college, our coaches had us take like a 5 pound weight and do like vertical kicking with that out of the water. We had these like friggin' rusty friggin' 5 pound weights like in the
Classic.
shed. They would pull them out, and like they were just like, yeah, just grab out of these, it'll be fine. That was fun.
Yeah, my roommate, he's from Poland and he's a Polish Olympian. And every day after practice, he would do 5 minutes of vertical kicking with a weight. And he was absolutely shredded. Like during taper time, the coach would be like, "Okay, no more of that. You
Yeah.
can't do that today. Like you need to rest." So yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to all the Polish.
Dude,
Actually, my buddy
Polish guys are
Victor,
good swimmers. I honestly,
they're good hard workers, man.
I've never met a Polish triathlete who's a bad swimmer. Like, I even met this one guy, he was like short too. He's probably like 5'4" or something. And he was just like a motor, dude. Like, it was crazy. He didn't dive well into the ocean because Poland doesn't
Mm,
border an ocean. I met him at like an African Cup. He like scraped his face against the ground, like when he dove in and like cut his
yikes.
nose. But other than that, he was super good.
Well, hey, just quick note on that. My buddy Victor, the Polish kid, texted me, you know, who you raced at Triton
Yeah,
Man. And
yeah.
he just texted me out of the blue this morning. He says, I'm going to be the best at transitions. So I think he listened to our past episode where we like kind of ragged on him. So yeah,
Oh
it's good.
man,
We're helping him out.
that's great, dude. Victor's an incredible athlete. Honestly, like,
Oh, of course.
yeah,
But
he's
he's
super
such a
good.
transitioning
His
Victor. Get your shit together, man.
Yeah. For context, I beat him by over 10 seconds in each transition. So, like, I think I got 25 seconds on him combined in a sprint triathlon. So it was like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. He ran a faster 5K than me, but still came out on
Yep.
top. So, anyways,
So our set today is from Sam Laidlow's Instagram.
yep.
And yeah, well, I guess I'll say the hot take early. I mean, we're going to talk about it. So I don't think it's like that hot of a take. But my hot take is don't take advice from Sam Laidlow on social media because he is a troll.
Yeah, honestly, if you guys don't know, this is one of his recent posts. He's like, "Oh, this is my favorite swim set." And it's all he posted was no warm up, no cool down, just 2 times 1900 meters. First one swim, LT1, second one pull. And he's
One
like,
minute rest.
1 minute rest. And he's like, "This is my favorite set." And if you're a triathlete out there, you could be like, "Oh, Sam Laidlow, he's the world champion in Ironman. Like, I gotta do this set." Do not do this set, you guys. Do not do this set. This is not gonna help you get fast. Like, we reviewed sets from the best college swim programs in the country, and their set didn't have anything longer than a 150 interval. And they're swimming way faster than Sam Laidlow could swim. And yeah, so Greg, tell us more about this 2 by 1900 meters. Why is this not a good set?
Well, and we always stress shorter intervals on the set so you can keep your stroke together. Now, in Sam's defense, Sam can swim 1900 straight yards and his stroke is probably the same at the beginning and the end because he is a good swimmer. So Sam Laidlow could do this set, and whether it's his favorite or not, that's why I think it's like, you know, I wouldn't even recommend this to most pros, but I think Sam Laidlow is one of the few pros that, you know, if he could do this set and find benefit because yeah, he can keep his stroke together for that long. But for most people, just the slow 1900 LT1, I mean, that's not even a real like intensity in the pool. I mean, I get it. It's just steady or it's like your Ironman pace, right? I'd much rather see you do shorter intervals with short rests so you can keep your stroke together a little bit. I mean, think about it in this way. Professional swimmers spend their entire existence trying to keep their stroke together for sometimes 1 minute, sometimes 15 minutes if they're, you know, a 1500-meter swimmer. If you're an age group triathlete, you can't just swim for 25 minutes and think that you could keep your stroke together. Like, no, you ain't that good. Sorry to say. And obviously, there's a few triathletes that could maybe get away with it. But we will change this set. I did want to highlight one comment that someone posted, and this is from the other world champion, who I would align with very much more, Lucy Charles Barkley. And she says on it, "Are you mad?" Right? It's like, "Are you crazy?" And then he's like, "Oh, what's your favorite set?" And then she says, "I like my old 1500-meter race sets. 30 by 50s max on 50 or 15 times 100 best average on 130," which are two, I mean, those are killer sets.
Yeah.
And Lucy Charles is a savage, obviously.
Hmm.
So she likes such a hard set like that. But that's like the complete opposite, right? So obviously there's different ways to do things, but honestly, I think Sam Laidlow was just joking. And I think some of the best triathletes in the world, the Norwegians included, they do things to distract their competition, and they play mind games. And this is Sam doing that.
Yeah, honestly, Lucy's let out of the water way more swims than Sam has. And she's an incredible 1500 meter swimmer, too. She almost went to the Olympics for 1500 meter. And yeah, I'm just not a fan, to be honest. This is just my opinion, so you guys could take or leave it. But my opinion is I don't like pros who like troll online because a lot of age group athletes look up to pro athletes. And if they post something and they're like, especially when it's not obvious that they're joking, they're like, oh, shoot, like I need to do this thing because this pro's doing it. It's like why certain people ride the bikes that they do, you know? It's why they get the running shoes that they do and stuff like that. Like people who are doing a 5 hour marathon in an Ironman are doing it in those friggin' carbon on shoes because whoever's running in them, you know? And it just rubs me the wrong way when pros just like maybe potentially lie to mislead other pros on their social media to get them off track. Because age groupers will look at it and it'll be hard for them to tell like if it's the truth or not. So yeah, that's my
Yeah,
opinion.
and that's who all your followers are too, right?
Hmm.
So no, I agree, and we're in this age of social media and kind of like hot takes and crazy things. That's what the people click on too, right? That's how you get headlines and sometimes maybe make money, right? So, I
Hmm.
mean, I get there's two sides to it, but yeah, I don't, if there's age group triathletes going out there, it's like if this was my favorite swim set, I still would be posting all the things that I do about how we frame
Hmm.
swim workouts, right? Because I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to distract age group triathletes from to do a set like this because it's not going to be that beneficial for them. I have
Hmm.
friends. I posted a thing on Instagram. I don't know, not that long ago, and it was like for 3 by 1,000 aerobic is not an appropriate set, and like basically just fire your coach if they do this. And I had all these swimmers messaged me like, "Do triathletes actually do stuff like that?" And they were like, they thought I was kind of joking. And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. People do that." And they were just like absolutely blown away. Like, who on earth would do something like that? So this set is just like that essentially, and we're gonna change it up for you.
Yeah.
So
Honestly,
why,
I kind of like those Lucy sets, but well,
dude? That's I just gotta say, 5100's best average on 130 is
and
absolutely
she's doing
one of
that
the
long
hardest.
course meters too, for sure. She's doing
What
that long course.
Yeah, for sure. But that's actually, if I had to pick the hardest set I've ever done or something like that, it'd be like 10 100s on 2 minute or like 15 on 140, just all out.
Hmm.
And that's the hardest set you could possibly do. I mean, if you really give it your best average, and there's a reason why Lucy's the best triathlete on the planet because her favorite set is literally the most savage swim set that you could possibly do. And
Yeah.
Sam Laidlow's is LT1 19, and like Sam's a world
Hmm.
champion. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's really great at swimming too. But Lucy, I mean, I identify with her, and Lucy's got great turnover. She's amazing in open water. She loves to work hard, and I think that Lucy should post on her Instagram, "Hey guys, try these sets instead," and distract you from Sam Laidlow's set.
Yeah. And honestly, other good swimmers in triathlon. So like Henry Skuman, I was in Africa doing some short course races, and I was hanging out with Henry's dad for like 3 hours in a van driving to this one race, and he was like, "Yeah, Henry swam uh 15 ones on the 130 long course meters, and he was going a minute flat on each of them." And I was like, dang, that's pretty fast. Henry's dad is like also his coach and just loves to brag about him. It's actually it's
That's
pretty
pretty
cute.
funny.
I kind of like it.
So he probably went like 102 because coach is always
Yeah,
exaggerating.
yeah. But I mean, it's a standard set that I think a lot of really good swimmers actually do, you know.
Hmm. Well, in the 30/50s max on 50, um, the JR, who's the famous like Australian swim set coach guy,
Mhm.
and like triathletes go swim with him. Like I mean, Ari did and Braden Curry and people, but I think they do 30/50s on the minute max every single week.
Mhm.
So yeah, like you said, I mean those are absolutely killer sets.
Mhm.
Very hard.
Okay. Yeah. So what can we give for like a warm up? Pretty standard warm up for people.
You do the warm up and then I'll do the
Okay,
main
cool.
set.
Yeah, so I think when you're doing a hard Ironman set, which is kind of what we're going for this, um, it's important to start with uh, a good feel for the water. Make sure your form is tight. So loosen up a good amount. I would say maybe like 400 to 600 choice. Definitely throwing some backstroke in there. If you like breaststroke, throwing some breaststroke in there. Um, just move your body in different ways and just take it easy. Like, don't stress yourself out on the warm up. Some people go way too hard. But yeah, 600 choice. And then I really like 4 100s, just 50 drill, 50 swim, or you could do 25 drill, 25 swim, depending on what pool you're in. If you're in a 50-meter pool, I would do 50 drill, 50 swim. Um, and yeah, then I would do something a little bit descending. So maybe like 450s descend. Now you're at like 1200. And I feel like that's a pretty good warm up. I've done a lot of similar warm ups to that when I was training for the Ironman because you're probably gonna do a long set. So 1200, it's not that bad of a warm up. And if you're tight for time, you can maybe cut it a little bit. But that's something I
No,
would do.
that's we used to do 4-4-4 in college pretty much every day, which was 400, 4 1s, 450s. And that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the best programs in the country, Nate. So
Yeah,
you're spot on with that warm up. And I like it.
nice.
I'll give that a lot to people. 450s descend 1 to 4. Even sometimes if it's warm up, I'll be like, oh, to 80% or 85. Like we don't have to go full on to sprint,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what the set is doing. Just like, hey, let's, as Nate likes to say, shift through the gears.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even say, hey, 70, 75, 80, 85, which might be 1 second each time, but just to, check a few boxes. So
Yeah.
Sam's set is, well, it's 3,800. I think if you do a long cooldown or some pulling after this set and you get to about 5K, I think that's like a solid Ironman swim. It's still over distance, right? You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to do 4K main sets. Maybe it's good to do a couple, but the set I'll give would be 3,100s. Okay. And this would be on kind of a base type interval where you would get, depending on how fast you are, 10-ish seconds to 15 seconds rest. Um, but the effort changes. So you do 5 just kind of slower than Ironman, like easy plus, right? And then you do 5 at Ironman type effort, which is, steady. And then you do 5 solid, which are faster than Ironman. And you repeat that. So you basically, yeah, it's basically 6 sets of 5. Easy, Ironman, faster than Ironman, repeat. And that gets 30. And yeah, you go straight through the set. We got to get some muscular fatigue and strength endurance going. And you can still get that while taking, you know, 10 to 15 seconds rest. So, maybe on the easies, you're getting 7 seconds rest. And on the faster ones, you're getting 15. And that's fine. You can keep the same interval the whole time. But yeah, I think it's a good way to swim steady. You're getting in a good chunk of yards and you're doing a little bit above Ironman, which you might need to go above Ironman pace in a race, whether it's at the beginning or the end, or you want to try to catch on someone's feet. So we can't just do Ironman pace if we're doing an Ironman. You still have to do stuff that's faster. And of course, speed is efficiency too, especially in the pool when water is 800 times denser than air. So speed matters even more
It's
than all the
800
other
times.
things.
I've been wondering about that because I know water is obviously like a lot denser than air, but I'm like,
Yeah,
how much more dense? It's 800
Yeah,
times.
it's
Dang.
it's about it depends on like the temperature. Yeah, temperature. I
I think of the
think, and
salt too, like because lakes
yeah,
are
so
less dense
it
than
changes, but
yeah,
on average, yeah. I mean, it's which is crazy.
yeah. That's wild. And then I want to just add a little tip on this is the reason why this is also a really good Ironman swim set and maybe good to mix this up with a set like where it's 15 ones all out is because you're swimming in open water, especially if you're like doing Kona or like even like river swims or lake swims or whatever. There could be currents and different times where you just need to go a little harder. Like
That's a great point.
I do a lot of open water swimming races in the summer, and I'm never swimming a steady, consistent pace for the whole swim because sometimes you're going into heavy chop or you're going into a current and you just need to go harder. Like There's a lot of people who saw that. I think it was like Morro Bay Triathlon where
Oh
like
yeah.
friggin' 600 people like didn't finish the swim because like the current was like super heavy. And it's like if you're in that race, like you might need to swim really, really hard that first half of the swim to get out past the current and then just cruise on the way back. Because if you're with the current, the water's going to be pulling you. And yeah, and some of these river swims too, you might need to swim really hard that first 200 meters. And then when you're swimming with the current, like just put it in cruise mode, you know? And that's the dynamics of open water. And that's why doing sets like this are good for you.
That's a really good point. And like doing the 30-50s max. I mean, Lucy Charles is an Ironman world champion. She still does sets like that, right? So,
Hmm.
when Lucy, I think she won when she won Kona, or I think just once, or she won it twice. Anyway, I think it was one of the years. She said, "Oh man, like why do you?" She was injured going in. They said, "Are you surprised?" And she's like, "A little bit, but I was training for the 1500-meter swim, and I was doing crazy hard swim workouts, and I think I got really fit from it, and it helped me on the bike and run."
Hmm.
And that's the world champion saying something like that too. And it's like, yes, don't go crush VO2 swim workouts 3 times a week all the time. Okay. But there's a time and place for all this stuff. And like Nate says, if you get into a crazy like rip current, or maybe not a rip current, because hopefully the course is a little safer than that, but some type of current, you have to push hard to get through it. And sometimes putting in effort, if you put in a hard effort for a minute and it's going to gain you more time in the end, you have to use your effort wisely. So, oh, I'm going into the current. I know I can push harder here because when I'm swimming with the current, I can go a little bit easier. So you have to manage those efforts. And that's why changing paces, all the things that we stress on this podcast, it all comes together in
Hmm.
races like that.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the episode, you guys. We're going to try and keep this around 20 minutes. I think we're a little over. Um, but yeah, trying to keep this episode short for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you get some value of it. Take what you see from pros on social media with a grain of salt, especially when it's like, this is my favorite workout, or this is like the nutrition you need to use, or like, this is like the best running shoe. Like, take it with a grain of salt, like a
Yeah,
lot of people
especially
are
if they're
paid to
getting,
say stuff.
I was about to say, if they're getting paid partnership.
Yeah, like some of these too. I mean, maybe this workout, it could just be like, oh shoot, Sam was like, my sponsors want me to post something on Instagram. I guess I'll just do this. It's like,
Yeah.
it could
Yeah,
have
true.
just been that.
We never know. All right, yeah, that's good. Yeah, it was a fun episode. It's good to kind of talk about, yeah, a little different dynamics there. But
Dude,
thanks, Nate.
I'm getting hyped for Ironman season. Anyways, have a good one, you guys. Share this episode with your friends. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and get better at swimming. See ya.
See ya.